So I'm literally walking down the hallway hotel right now, because I just needed a quiet place to like talk, and my room has other people in it, so just walking down the hallways, just gonna give myself space. Okay, so I just had this revelation that I feel like I'm officially naming Amy Winehouse as my favorite singer, even though if someone asked me to describe her, I wouldn't call her a singer. Like I like that wouldn't be the way that I described her voice to someone. Although I feel like she is what makes singing multidimensional, and it's not. I feel like she makes it okay to sing and not define yourself as a singer. And I feel like that's why I love her, also because maybe I'll like roam around the hotel. Oh, it's gonna get really loud. I feel like she's also one of the only artists that I found myself, that I genuinely discovered or like organically, naturally on my own in divine timing, without really any external influences or anyone other than my own intuitive guidance to push me and introduce me to her voice, her music, her spirit, her energy. And I feel like discovering her was such a pivotal moment for me. It's still pretty fresh, still pretty new. I kind of got over. I feel like I went through a grieving, even though I'm like, okay, several years late, and it's been a long time since she transitioned. Still, I feel like the discovery is in the now, and her spirit is still ever so present, I feel like, in my life. So I feel like grief can be timeless, I feel like a death can be mourned a century, after it occurred, and, still have the effect on someone as if it were happening, in the moment, especially. And I think that specifically you can experience a death again, when there is a spiritual attachment or a deep emotional connection to the subject. And I feel like her being probably like my favorite artist, honestly. And it's taking me some time, because I feel like I had to it gave me wounds really, really fast, because I feel like the world had time to consume her over a much larger period, larger intervals, of like consuming her and observing her and experiencing her. Whereas for me, when the world was experiencing her, I was a little girl. So now that I'm 22 and I have access to decades just all at an instant, being able to experience what the world went through over years, all in one moment, it is a lot for my brain to process, just for any human. I feel like processing falling in love with someone and then also experiencing their death. There's some people walking by. They get off the elevator. Yeah, having access to a person's entire lifetime in one singular moment, I think is an otherworldly experience. Because I think as terrestrial beings, like here on planet Earth, we are, our reality, our physical experience of reality is kind of bound to this concept of time and the idea of waiting. And so when you don't have to wait in order to experience life and death, it changes the impact, then the effects are instantaneous. And so falling in love with her and also grieving her and experiencing myself within her and this spiritual connection, I feel like, to music that I have makes her influence on me much more substantial. I feel like the influence that she has on me is the weight, the value of someone who maybe knows me personally and is in my immediate surroundings, just because I'm so connected and I feel like I'm very much so in my own world. So I feel like my surroundings, those who are actually present in my physical surroundings, have less of an influence on me than the people who are kind of spiritually present and chosen to be in my inner world by way of art and culture. And I feel like there's just no other artist that has made me want to embrace music wholeheartedly, and not just music kind of as an external experience, more so music as a musician, as what people call an artist. And it's changed my relationship with music. Now music and our connection is deeper. It's deeper than the surface, which I feel like it was before I got exposed to Amy. Now things are vulnerable. I feel like the relationship that I have with music now is sort of the same as if, let's say, you fell in love with someone, right? And then you and that someone called it quits, like you broke it off, and maybe you were deeply, deeply, deeply in love. It's just that the love, I think, was maybe so wild, and the gravitational pull between you two were kind of like a negative and a positive, like you want to be together, yet still you're opposites, and there's still something emphasizing the difference between you, although all you really want to be is one. And then the effect, the power of reconciling after splitting up with someone that you love so much, and the wounds that are there, the vulnerability that's there, the hurt that's there, and how it's a constant healing process, choosing to be in a relationship with someone again after you've literally experienced trauma, emotional trauma, psychological trauma, maybe even heartbreak that can lead to pain and, even tears and crying. And I just feel like love that is resurrected takes time to trust again. And I feel like discovering Amy, like the universe introducing me to Amy, I felt like was traumatizing, definitely, for me. And yet somehow the journey didn't just like stop at the trauma. Trauma wasn't all that it was. It was also love and admiration and obsession and fascination and like all of those things. And I've experienced my connection to like Amy's music and just who she is as a person transform so many times. Like I remember being angry and then being hurt and then wanting to just grieve and then mourn and then be happy and listen to all her songs and then being like, no, I shouldn't listen to her songs because I know how it's gonna make me feel, and at the same time being like, but it's really the only thing I want to listen to. It's so good. And honestly, I just finished watching this 2004. People are getting off the elevator again.
Yeah, you can go down to the car. Yeah. All right. Good luck. Yeah.
I was saying that I had just finished watching this 2004. I think it's like North Sea Jazz or something of that nature. Like, it was an interview of her, and she was like outside, and she did a acoustic performance of "In My Bed," and I love watching her interviews. I feel like okay, here's the thing. I'm the type of person where my personality is very mutable. I'm definitely a shapeshifter, and in reality, sometimes when I shapeshift, it's not really because I want to, more so just because I just am simply observing, and just through the act of observing, I turn into that which I observe. And I feel like observing Amy has allowed me to see many different versions of myself, and also her. Like she wasn't just one person. She didn't just expose one version of herself, and I think that that's really what I love about it, is that she wasn't surface level. She gave us so many dimensions and levels, and I just feel like I trust her, which is a lot. Excuse me. I trust her, which is a lot for me because I don't trust musicians. So when I put my faith and my trust into a musician, I believe them. I believe in them. I believe in their... I believe in... I believe in the purpose that music has for sending certain creators and artists and artistic people into my life. And I feel like so many musicians have broken my heart. And I feel like Amy is the first person that broke my heart, and it was okay. It was alright, because I felt like she didn't mean to. Like I feel like that wasn't her intention. And it makes me feel safe, inside of the world of her art, or the world that her art created. And it makes me feel boundless, right? I feel like it alleviates all fears that I have in regards to my own world, in my own artistry. I feel like there's no limitations. I'm also the type of person to where I like to be educated about music in a very organic way, meaning like I'm not gonna go and purposefully look up and study and go back and find all of the people who inspired the people that I'm inspired by. I would prefer for the music that I listen to find me organically, because I want my experience of music and potentially fame to be organic in that manner. So I would prefer for like someone to be like, hey, you should listen to this. Like, I think you would like this. And that be how I acquire my music taste, rather than me trying to figure it out on my own, because I believe that the universe is the master of all aspects of self and the universe. So I trust when music finds me on its own, without me having to push or force. And I feel like Amy's music came to me on its own and wanted to be with me, and that's something that I honor and I respect, like, no matter what. I feel like there can be a lot of dark things that you can take from her experience of fame and maybe the reputation that she acquired over time. I just think that none of it can devalue, I feel like, the experience of art that feels like it wants to be with you, where, like, you know, music that's saying, please love me, please listen to me, please, you know what I mean? And I value that. I'm so thankful that, you know, there are artists who create things that I can resonate with, and that I live in a universe where music is a self-aware entity that can communicate with me and love me and want to create with me and inspire me, and I just love it. So yeah, that's my whole Amy Winehouse spiel. Okay, I'm done.